Whether it's a lager or an ale, whether it's a stout, light, dark, or pale, if you can brew it, Chad can review it. It's time for Chad's Beer Reviews. He's not quite an amateur, not quite a connoisseur, but regardless of the brewer, he's got taste in beer for sure.
You can tell just by his gut, this guy is a bona fide beer nut.
So whether it's a porter or an IPA, whether it's from Europe or the USA, if you can brew it, Chad can review it. It's time for Chad's Beer Reviews.
Hey, welcome to an episode of Chad's Beer Reviews. We're drinking a very special beer tonight. Probably not really appropriate for the summer season, but I just couldn't wait any longer. This is the very famous Goose Island Bourbon County brand stout, and it's the 2008 vintage, as you can see up here. I've heard a lot of good things about this beer, you know, and I don't try to get hung up on a beer's reputation or its ratings or rankings or whatever, but it's hard to avoid it in the case of this beer. It's, you know, ranks in like the top 25 on both Beer Advocate and Rate Beer. So it's a beer with a lot of history behind it. Oh, before we get into that, let me just show you my 𝗲𝗄𝗏 beer tour t-shirt. I hit my 50th beer there back in, I think it was like June. But they were just out of t-shirts until recently, so now I get to show off my 𝗲𝗏𝗏's t-shirt. This beer was sent from Al in Atlanta, who also sent the 2 turtle doves, so thank you, Al, for the beer. That's very generous of you. And as you can see, this is a 2008, and from the webpage, this is a 2009 picture. And I'm wondering if they change the recipe at all from year to year, if they just keep it the same. I don't know. It says, brewed in honor of batch number 1000 at our original brew pub, a liquid as dark and dense as a black hole with a thick foam the color of a bourbon barrel. The nose is an intense mix of charred oak, chocolate, vanilla, caramel, and smoke. One sip has more flavor than your average case of beer. A great cigar beer. 13% ABV. 60 IBUs. I'm surprised it's not a little bit higher. Usually imperial beers are even more IBUs, you know. For hops they use Willamette or Willamette, I don't know. Malts we got 2-row, Munich, chocolate, caramel, roast barley, and embittered black. And what's funny is they say preferred serving temperature 40 degrees, but everybody who I've talked to said you want to let this sit out for 20-30 minutes, and I think, yeah, I've had this sitting out for about 20-25 minutes or so. So yeah, it's weird that they would say to drink it that cold. Now, since this is a 2-year-old vintage, I'm wondering if that's going to help as far as the, you know, smoothing out the alcohol. But I'm pouring this the J way, and I'm not getting any head here. Well, let me just get halfway here so we can take an aroma and appearance test. Well, they were right. They said they made a point of saying on their webpage that it's the blackest beer you'll ever see. You won't even see any red or brown or anything around the edges, and it's true. No head on there, which is weird. It smells like black licorice. It's a lot of like that anise kind of thing. I do get the wood. I get kind of like a cherry kind of smell. Yeah, it's like black licorice, cherry, and wood. Kind of like a, I mean, I guess there is kind of like a licorice, you know, liqueur kind of smell. That's weird that there's no head on it. So, let's give it a taste. Wow. Whew. That's a very strong beer. It tastes exactly like it smells. It's just like all black licorice. Or at least up front. In the middle, I'm getting kind of like a cherry or plum kind of flavor. and it takes like a few seconds, but there's a real nice chocolate and coffee kind of aftertaste that's really pleasing. There's some heat on the back end and as it's going down your throat, but it's not. I've had beers with lower ABVs that were way hotter than this. So clearly the 2 years has done pretty well as far as the booze. Pretty tasty beer. It's really, really intense up front. This doesn't even really drink like a beer to me. It drinks almost kind of like a beer/liquor hybrid. It's completely like tepid. Like, it doesn't seem carbonated at all. Could be due to the aging. I'm not really sure. But it's just what the name says, bourbon. You are getting like kind of a bourbon or whiskey kind of taste. It's like, it's warm. It's a little smoky, and there's definitely some kind of earthy woodiness in there. Now, I don't drink bourbon or whiskey or scotch really at all, so I don't really have the frame of reference to compare this to any kind of, fine liquor or liqueur. But as a beer, it's very strong, and the best thing I can compare this to would be the Dogfish Head Worldwide Stout. It's not quite as intense as that beer, but it's pretty close. I do like the flavors here. The fruit in the middle and the chocolate coffee aftertaste is really pleasing. Yeah, it's like if you took like cherries or plum and dipped them in chocolate, and then chased it with coffee. That's a good analogy for this beer. So I'm kind of approaching this beer as if it were an extreme beer like Dogfish Head Worldwide Stout. Frankly, I don't think it lives up to the hype, but maybe you have to take that with a grain of salt or whatever, because I'm just not a fan of super extreme beers. I've developed a taste for imperial beers in general over the last year or so, but anything over like 11-12% just starts to get a little too close to liquor for me, and it's just like, if I wanted liquor, I would drink liquor. I like beer because I like beer. So, man, I've been rambling on for this one. So, anyways, thanks again to Al in Atlanta for the beer. I really appreciate it. I'd love to try this beer or one like it, like with like 4 or 5 years on its belt. We'll see how it changes then. So, yeah, thanks Al for the beer, and that's an 8 out of 10 for Goose Island Bourbon County brand stout. It's a very good beer. I don't really think it lives up to the hype, but it didn't disappoint me. So that does it for this episode, and thanks for watching. Remember to check out my second channel, youtube.com/ChadsBeerReviews, and we will see you next time. Bye.
Somebody brewed it, Chad just reviewed it. Thanks for watching Chad's Beer Reviews.
Trust me, the next episode will be a lot better.